It's still Tuesday, November 19th or something, and I'm back on the 5105, and Jeff was here to help me. We got it started, and I wanted to show you a couple of things about this automatic transmission. Several people commented on its operation, and some of you were curious about it, so I'm going to try to get to everybody today on Bus Old Man Phil. We're not on Scott's channel today, we're on Bus Old Man Phil, and that is me. And I wanted to show you the 5105 again. As you can see, the air pressure light is on. It's glaring into the camera, but actually it's quite easy to see the nomenclature. And here is the system next to the driver. The front door is currently in the door switch is currently in the front door position. If I push it this way, also the exit door and the stop lamps come on. The rear exit door is designed to set the brakes when it's open. This is for passenger safety. When I pull the door lever back one notch, you see it releases the brakes. The front door is still open. If I move the lever all the way, you'll see the front door closes. Right now our air pressure is low, so it's moving slowly. If I move the lever back one notch, it opens the rear door only, and if I move it back two notches, the front door opens again. The reason for this reverse configuration is after we're away from downtown, we're out in the neighborhood, and people toward the rear of the bus will pull the cord. Well, there was an interruption with a phone call I had to take, so I'm back. The suspension system is full. The bus is now floating on airbags. You see the air pressure is up where it should be. You notice the engine isn't getting very warm, considering it's just been idling here for about 5 minutes. And I was in the process of explaining the doors and the door switches. So now we'll go ahead and finish up with that door switch system. Jeff now wants to get off of the bus, and I have closed the front door, and Jeff is in the back of the bus, isn't he? Jeff, are you in the back of the bus?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead and pull the cord as if you wanted to get off here now. There we go. Okay, Jeff, go to the back door. Now I see Jeff getting up out of his seat and getting to the back door so that he's ready to get off when I pull into the curb. Because if he isn't by the back door, I'm not going to open it, and he's going to ride another block, and he'll try again to pull the cord and get up and get to the door. Jeff is at the back door. We're going to open the back door and let him off. And so long, Jeff. Thanks for riding. It's difficult to see, but that round mirror that's back there shows the rear step and a part of the street. When I don't see any part of him, he's back far enough from the bus that I can safely close the door and proceed. This little round mirror here also shows the back door. Come on in, Jeff. And there's too much glare, so we can't see it. But now, when I have a full crowd, come up here, Jeff, by the fare box. When I have a standing load, if you'll notice, I can't see the back door with the regular driver's mirror. So I look over here, and that little round mirror, now there's light glare, so we can't see it now, but that mirror shows that big round convex mirror over the back stairway. And I can see passengers getting off even though I have a standing load. Okay, now back. Now, Jeff, if you'll take the camera and we'll swing it around here without making people dizzy. There we go. Now I wanted to go into this shifting system with you a little bit. It's still recording, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Sorry I made you dizzy, folks. I don't know how to handle a camera yet. So our air pressure is up. Everything's good. Come over here, Jeff. This is the old Johnson bar. This is what releases the parking brake. It is a clamp around a drive shaft drum, like a brake drum, like your 52 DeSoto had. The brakes are now released, so let me show you. This shift system consists of an air-operated clutch, double face clutch as it is. One face operates a torque converter, the other face operates a gearbox. When I move this lever over into the vertical shaft, it releases the clutch, allowing me to move the transmission gear lever to reverse or forward. Down for reverse. Now I have released the shift lever, which has released the clutch. The transmission now is coupled to the torque converter through the two-phase clutch. And now I can back the bus up. Okay, pause it a minute, Jeff. I had left it on rear control. Here we go. So now the transmission is in reverse and we can back up. Okay, when I've reached the point I'm not backing up, I again move the lever over here, give the pneumatic cylinder time to release the clutch. The clutch is now halfway between the torque converter and the gearbox. When I move this lever up, past neutral, and all the way up to forward, the gears are stuck. So what I will do is the same thing you would do with a stick shift. Release the clutch and spin the gears. Now I'll go back and try it again. See that? Just as if you had a stick shift and the gear was jammed, you would push the clutch in and get everything spinning and then put it in. So now we're going forward. Now, back, the clutch releases, and I put the gear shift in neutral. So now we'll go to the back of the bus and I'll show you what happens during that whole thing. Follow me, Jeff. For those of you who don't pay much attention to detail, I want you to know that everything on this bus works. And Jeff is going to show you even the step light for the rear door is lit. Show him, Jeff. We leave no detail unaccounted for. None whatsoever. Everything works on every bus old man Phil messes with. Follow me, Jeff. Here, I hope we have enough light. Can you see this, Jeff? Can you see this gear lever? Yeah. Okay. Right now, this lever is in neutral position. When I move the gear shift up or down, it moves this lever back and forth. This is the gearbox. And this is the forward and reverse in the gearbox. That's all that does is move it from reverse to forward. Here is the torque converter, and here is the clutch cylinder. This cylinder operates this arm, which moves the clutch back or forward, depending on whether we're in the torque converter or in the direct drive. Now you stay here, Jeff, and I'm going to operate that so they can see it move. It is now in direct drive. It is now in torque drive. Remember, the gearbox and this are two totally separate, unrelated functions, okay? Now, when we go to shift from the front, can you see this little trapeze, Jeff? See this little trapeze? Is there enough light?
Yeah.
Okay, when I move the shift lever up front into that vertical slot, this is actuated, and when I move the lever, you'll see that this stops this sequence right in the middle of its travel. Right now that two-phase clutch is touching neither the torque converter or the gearbox. This is how it is when I need to shift from forward to reverse. It uncouples the drive system. Now,
oh, hang on.
once again, I was interrupted by a phone call, so I'll try to stitch these together, but who knows how that goes. So, where I left off was showing you the double face clutch lever and the transmission gearbox lever. Again, the gearbox lever only moves the gears from forward to reverse. It has no other function. There is only one forward and one rearward gearing. Back to the torque converter. By the way, this is the cooling unit for the torque converter. Engine coolant circulates through there. And by the way, with winter heating systems, the heat generated by the torque converter helps with the engine heat to help keep the inside of the bus warm in the winter. These two-cycle diesel engines run cold, so we need heat wherever it's generated. Okay, back over here. Now, I showed you this function with the little, what I call a trapeze. It's called the clutch stop solenoid. Once more, when I'm trying to shift from forward to reverse, this stops the clutch in the center of its travel, uncoupling the torque converter and the transmission. So now I can move that transmission lever between forward and reverse. Okay, back to normal. In the travel of the bus, when the speed of the bus reaches a preset speed, we try to set them for about 26 miles an hour. A shift cycle initiates, whereupon this system will kill the engine while the clutch system is moving from the torque converter to the gearbox. So this is what's happening. It momentarily cuts off the engine while it's shifting, so it doesn't grind gears, just as you would push the clutch in when you were shifting gears. We are now in direct drive. When we get back down around 22 miles an hour, it will shift back into the torque converter, just like that. So that's part of that. Now, the next thing I want to show you while we're back here is many of you think the first thing you have to do when you buy a bus is tear out the DC generator and put in a fancy alternator. Do you know why you do that? Because everybody else does it. Well, let me show you this bus as it came from the factory floor with its nice big 100 and somebody get in on this, zero in on this, Jeff. This is a nice big 170 amp dual field DC generator. It has 2 field coils instead of 1, and this is to the battery. This generator is air cooled. What happens is air is drawn in the back end here. By the way, this is a riding lawnmower filter. You can buy them anywhere. Air is drawn through here up into the engine main air take system. The suction of the engine blower pulls air through here, cools the generator. It's directly coupled to the engine. Now, I'll tell you something, folks. One of the reasons these buses were so dependable, look, no belts. Look, Ma, no belts. No belts to break in the middle of a trip. The generator and the air compressor are direct driven from this gear assembly, which is an engine attachment for buses. Down here is a blank space. This is for power steering. Well, in the Twin Cities, we did not have power steering. The old timers didn't like it. There was a demo bus up here with power steering, didn't like it. The old-fashioned power steering didn't return, and the drivers having to pull the wheel back, so they didn't like it, so we didn't get it. So that's the story on that. The next thing is I forgot to open this. The voltage regulator is inside this cover, and because it has 2 fields, it's like 2 generators in one, so there are 2 sets of relays for the voltage regulator. It's a tricky operation, and this spring, when it's nice and warm out here, I'm going to show you how to adjust your voltage regulators to correctly charge the batteries and supply the correct operating voltage for all the bus accessories. But we're not going to do that now. And that's going to be about it for now. Thank you, Jeff, for being the cameraman. And let's just look at a couple of things in here. Jeff, if we can you see up in here where I was operating that clutch? Is there enough light to see that? Is it showing up on the camera? This is the clutch control solenoid, and this is triggered by my moving that lever up front from the slots into the vertical shaft. This is part of the air pressure control system for that. This is the air cleaner and the supply to the engine shutters. This is the unit that stops the engine by pushing the rack closed. The rack shaft is pushed closed, so all the injector racks are closed for that couple of seconds that the transmission is going through its shift. This is also the way we stop the engine in normal use. So I think pretty much everything else looks quite a bit like any other 671. These buses came with shrouds, and many of you have lost your shrouds, or many of you have purchased your bus without the shrouds. There seems to be a thing about removing these shrouds. I don't like them removed. They were designed by people who knew what they were doing. This keeps the fan from sucking air from all around the radiator instead of through the radiator. In Minnesota, these buses have shutters. Can you see in here, Jeff? Can you see the shutters in there? Mm-hmm. Well, you'll notice these shutters are closed right now because the engine is cold. These shutters require service at least every couple of years to keep them lubricated so they work right. This unit here is called a shutter stat. This is in the water flow to the engine following the thermostat. This control monitors the temperature of water leaving the engine, and by air it will open and close the shutters at a set point that is adjustable, and I have it set for 185 degrees, 5 degrees above the temperature of the thermostat. The operating temperature of the thermostat is 180. I have these set 5 degrees higher so that the thermostat will open and flow coolant through the radiator before the shutters open. It's possible to get the water to the heating system as hot as the engine is at that point. It gets cold in Minnesota, and we need every bit of heat we can get. So that'll about do it for now. Watch Bus Old Man Phil, and also check in with my buddy Scott. He's the one that got me started in this, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not going to answer direct mechanical questions because I want you to talk to Scott about that. But I'll help you with information on ordinary operating procedures and any electrical situations that Scott doesn't want to deal with. I'll see you around. Right if you get work and hang by your thumbs.